a little bit quickly. And then the chat will be open. So if you feel like you have a question and you're worried that you might forget it as we move through, go ahead and put it in the chat. And then Ms. Hine will go back through the chat and answer those questions. And we'll also take questions if you want to be brave and turn on your mic at the end. So I think we're ready to go. I need to turn on the chat. All right, so that should now be on. And let's get started. All right, so again, just a reminder that this Thursday and Friday, we have mostly asynchronous days. We do have class meetings set up in first and second grade, and your individual teachers are giving you information about that. Remember that Monday is a teacher work day, so there is no school for students. This Monday is a little different. Then Tuesday, we will welcome back our A through K students primarily. There are some exceptions, but anyone that is not A through K who's coming back, Ms. Hine primarily has reached out to those families. So if you hear some, if you have a neighbor with the last name Z and they're coming to school on Tuesday, they don't get stressed. They've been contacted. And then majority of our L through Z students will come back Thursday and Friday. So that's our calendar of events coming up here. So some things we'll go through here, completion of the health screening form. We'll talk a little bit about social distancing, sanitization, washing hands, masks, our care room. So this health screening form, so this can be accessed through your Parent View account. And it was elementary parents. I know I didn't really pay attention to Parent View until middle school when grades start to be put into Parent View. I paid a lot more attention to it. So if you're not sure how to access this, you can always call our main office. They can help you. This form is linked in this presentation. I believe it was linked in last Friday's communication from teachers. But bottom line is, if you don't know how to get the form, let us know here in the main office. We'll get it to you. It's easiest if you can complete it through Parent View, but if not, you can certainly scan it back to us, and we need to keep track of all completed forms. Worst case scenario is send it with your child in person next week. If there's someone who if they don't have the form and they're returning on Tuesday, we will be calling you on Tuesday to get verbal confirmation that you understand the form. It's a one-time completion of the form. I know some other school systems might be doing like daily apps and stuff that need to be filled out. Fairfax County is not doing that. So we're doing a one-time understanding of the form that, again, you're not going to be sending your child to school if they have exhibited any of the symptoms of COVID. So it's important that you get that done for us. And again, if you need help, let us know. We'll help you here at school. So social distancing at school. Again, the big thing is we're going to try to keep that 6 feet distancing as much as we can. Certainly with kids, it's a challenge, particularly at recess. We're doing our best as they get off the bus to remind them to keep that 6 feet of distance. So there are going to be times for extremely short period of times where we may not be able to keep it. But certainly you'll see some pictures of our classrooms, the buses, etc. That it's a lot easier to keep that 6 feet of distance. So that is the biggest thing. Lunch, and we'll get to lunches a little bit later, but we're eating in the classrooms. And then we're lucky in the school, our hallways are pretty wide. And so we're still able to keep 6 foot distance. There's really very little movement. There's basically movement into the building, movement out and back from recess, and then movement at a dismissal at the end of the day. Next, some cleaning protocols. And so the big thing is, our custodians, we've added an extra custodian during the daytime. Usually we only had one custodian here. So we have a custodian coming in now around 11 a.m. to support additional cleaning. So they're cleaning all the high touch areas frequently. They're keeping track of that. We have sheets all over the building where they're initialing that things are getting cleaned. And then when students are out at recess, custodians are going to come in and clean the desks one time with the Virex solution as an additional measure. And then at night, they'll also be using the same solution to clean the rooms. So those are some additional cleaning protocols. Hand washing, ironically, this is one of the last things I did as principal with all the kids in the building last year was walk around to every class and talk about hand washing. You probably forgot it, I'm sure by now. But the teachers, this is something we practice normally when we're back. We'll certainly re-emphasize the importance of making sure that we're washing hands for 20 seconds. For first grade, a little bit of advantage having the sinks and bathrooms in your room. Second grade, we'll need to go, leave their classrooms, especially to get to the bathroom. And, we will certainly accommodate students. And then we have some signs up and, instructions for students to make sure that there's only a couple in the bathroom at one time. We got a hand sanitizer in the rooms. We have hand sanitizing stations, 3 throughout the building, kind of main areas that students will come in from the outside world. And so we have those additional stations up as well. And masks, they'll be expected to wear masks. We are allowed to give mask breaks. Certainly when a mask break is given, we're going to be really, really strict about that 6-foot distance. The best mask break will be outside. We'll get to recess in a little bit, but the masks do need to be worn. What we've seen so far, knock on wood here, our preschool and kindergarten kids have been excellent with this inside the building. Again, these are expectations, that if we were talking about, maybe 10 months ago would be kind of new to all of us, right? I mean, this is the way that they're operating in the world, right? So it's not something new to them. Next, so this diagram of face covering is just what's allowed, not allowed. The biggest thing is the only ones that we've seen, that the one, I want to draw your attention to the first one on that bottom row that has the vent is the one thing. We have some safety teams that come through. It was an adult that was wearing it. That's the only one that I've seen here at school that we've been told isn't allowed. There was early on discussion about whether gaiters couldn't be worn. They can be worn. The big thing is just to make sure that the multiple layers, that it's just not a single layer, is the main thing with the masks. Again, we haven't seen any issues with the student masks. No bandanas, scarves, anything like that, right? It does need to be a mask. And again, at this point, I'm sure most of them have their own masks. We do have a care room. So if your child, and we'll talk a little bit more about what's going to happen if they're sick at school, but just know they do have COVID symptoms in school. My office and our conference room in the main office are considered care rooms. And so if someone does have symptoms, we'll move them to one of those spots. Me or Mr. Parker will wait with them until you come pick them up, and we'll talk a little bit more about that. But just so you know that those rooms are set up as well. And as long as I don't have a sick student in my office, I'm still allowed to use my office normally, which is where I am right now. So a little bit about logistics. So, I'm thankful if you were a parent who reached out and said your opinion about the awful 10 o'clock to 4:45 schedule that was originally proposed. I thank you. This is, very, we're basically on the same schedule, right? So 9 o'clock is when classes start. Again, we're used to the doors opening at 8:45, so that's going to be the same time. The only slight adjustment is if you are a walker, we are going to ask that the walkers use door 2. Sometimes the walkers would come into to door 1. We'll put some signage out there, but we just, right now with the flow off of the bus, we feel like we can kind of control the flow of walkers and kiss and ride together a bit better. So that's the only thing that's a little different. Again, if you're used to picking up, if you're a parent who's used to coming over and walking your student after school, door 2 is where you're going to want to congregate with that social distancing. Buses are still going to come into door 1. If it looks like we need some more social distancing, we'll also use door 8, but that'll be down the road as 3rd through 6th grade return. Unfortunately, you can't come into school and walk your students to class. Probably not as big of a deal with this group. With kindergarten last week, that was certainly a tradition, and we just have to say goodbye to them in the parking lot. And of course, the focus is going to be, the safety and well-being of our students. Again, to give you perspective, it's about 200 kids each day that are here, roughly. I think I just looked again at the numbers, and I think we're one day closer to like 220. But I think in all of our minds, we're used to a dismissal or an arrival that has 730, or last year about 760 kids, coming and going at the same time. And so it'll be a greatly reduced capacity in the building. Let's see, next here. So for dismissal, if you do have a walker, we are going to do our best to dismiss them at 3:25. Again, just trying to navigate the flow of traffic within our building. So we're going to let them go first. We'll make an announcement that all the walkers will leave the classrooms. Then we will dismiss kiss and ride and bus riders. Kiss and ride, teachers will get into this more tomorrow, but they're going to stay in their classroom. Parents, you'll be given a number, and when you come up, your number will be called. Kids will be walking from their classroom. So again, we just ask for patience. That's our plan right now. And if it doesn't seem to be working as more kids come back, we'll revisit it. But just be patient and kiss and ride. And our bus riders will use door 1. Today was the first day that the buses went to middle and high school. All of our buses were here by 8:55. I think all of our buses were here by 3:35. So that's an encouraging sign that we'll be able to, barring any major accidents on the roads, arrive and dismiss on time, regardless of what's going on at the middle and high school pickups and drop-offs. Next will be bus transportation. So again, the good news is, sometimes it is a benefit to go later. We were scrambling to figure out what buses our kindergartners were on. We have all that information. You have it again in that parent view account. So if you want to go into that parent view account, wait a minute, maybe I'm getting ahead of myself. I am. So bottom line is we plan on calling everyone to make sure we confirm with you what day you're coming to school and where your bus stop is and what bus you're on. So you can expect prior to the first day that you get a phone call from our main office about that. Again, seating capacity is reduced. They need to wear their face masks on the bus. And some of the buses, I think all the buses have seats marked on it on where they can sit. And then there is cleaning going on. Once the Daniels Run kids are here, then they clean the bus for any future pickups. So again, look at that parent view. There's also an app. Bottom line, call us. We have all of that information. If you, I'd say give us until next Monday. This group returns the following Tuesday. So give us at least through next Monday to make those phone calls. But if it's like noon Monday and you haven't heard anything from us, give us a call or send me an email and we'll quickly get that information to you. All right, next here. So a little bit about instruction. We talked a little bit about this in some parent meetings in the fall. So again, concurrent instruction, the big thing, right, is that we have a group of students in our building and a group of students at home. There's an additional group of students, right, what we call our Group C students, which are students who have chosen to stay home, stay virtual all 4 days. So again, with our model, the downside was, of course, changing some of the students' classes. The upside is if you're a parent who has chosen that 100% virtual model, other than the change in teacher possibly, you should hit the ground running in terms of your virtual instruction should look pretty similar next Tuesday to what it looks like today. So as our in-person kids return, you're going to see, and that's the little diagram there, right? You've got the teacher teaching in the classroom with students at home. And so certainly early on, this is another new way of teaching. This will be our third instructional method, right, that we've learned since last March 13th. And so we're going to start out at this initiating and sort of performing stage. It's going to, give us some time, a number of weeks for our teachers who are teaching concurrently, to build up to a more, a higher level of expertise. But bottom line is certainly morning meetings. And I meant to say at the beginning, any of our staff, if I misspeak on something or something is said that you were like, wait a minute, last week you said something different, chime in. So we're all on the same page. Certainly morning meetings, the kids at home virtually, right, are going to be on the Google Meet, and we'll have the kids in person, right? So that'll be kind of one time where there's certainly a class together. Focus lessons, which are the short kind of 10 to 15 minute kind of whole group lessons that occur during language arts and math, are certainly another time. And then once that focus lesson is done, if they're a virtual student, if it's a Thursday and you're a student who usually comes Tuesday, Wednesday, they may see some more independent work than you're currently seeing in 100% virtual format, right? Because again, the attention early on especially will be setting up routines for those students who are in person. The good news is, again, the way we set up the classes, those things flip-flop, right? So if you're a Thursday, Friday family, and, I can tell you that our kindergarten classes took about 15 minutes to get out of the building for recess, that's kind of normal. That's, little kids, right? Building routine. So, but then on Thursday, right, things flip-flopped, and all of a sudden the kids who, sat through a late recess on Tuesday, right? Things flip-flop. So bear with us, right? Our teachers have been great at learning and adapting, and this is another new one. And we'll certainly pull those groups together as much as we can and make everyone feel like one class. But I do just want to be honest with expectations, right? On the virtual side of things, again, if you're an in-person family, on the days that you're virtual, you will see a bit more independent work than you're currently seeing in a 100% virtual environment. Next here, so some pictures. So I'm going to start off with a couple of kindergarten pictures just so you can see a room with live real bodies in it. And so you see Miss Beach there at the front of the class. You see the desks are separated by 6 feet, and we're wearing our mask. And so that's certainly a little different than if you walked into one of our classrooms last year where we had kids sitting at tables and very close together, right? The biggest thing is that 6 feet of social distancing. This is just sort of the reverse angle of the picture. And so again, you get to see, the spacing that is occurring. I don't consider myself a micromanager. Maybe our staff feels differently. I haven't ordered like, thank you, Mrs. Denton. I see that. I haven't mandated that every in-person teacher is going to have the exact same setup. So you'll notice in this picture in kindergarten, look like to the left, to the right in the picture, they've got a little holder there with some of their materials. And so I know our teachers are planning different things, and we're certainly able to provide and buy things for teachers. And so, each one may have a little different setup, but bottom line is the desks will be spaced. They'll have a room for their supplies and things like that. Here's a couple rooms. This is a 2nd grade room that's almost ready to go there with desks being separated. And I took a picture of a 1st grade room, and you can kind of see the teacher set up front there with the technology to help the online students, and the desks separated there. So you get a little visual of what a classroom is going to look like when they come back. I'm going to turn this over, and we didn't rehearse. I apologize. So I'm going to turn it over to one of our in-persons. Why don't Janelle or Alex, you want to take this slide for 1st grade? Okay.
Sure, I'll go. So just a little bit about the supply list. It did go home in the emails that teachers sent out last week. But we just wanted to make sure that parents understood that we are going to keep this supply list at school with us. And it will be used only by your student. And then on those at-home days, they will need, another set of supplies. So pencil box, crayons, markers, whiteboard markers. Headphones are really important. We also are asking for 4 containers of Play-Doh, a change of clothes, scissors, I think. Did I skip that? And also to bring daily with them a fully charged laptop and their charger, as well as a snack, and wearing a face mask and then an extra face mask because, yeah, we're 6 and 7 years old and accidents happen. Labeling the supplies would be helpful. Alex, can you?
Yeah, I can jump in. Student in first grade, you don't need to bring pencils or glue sticks. We have enough of those to go around. Trying to work through that. And labeling supplies beforehand would be ideal. That just saves them a step in the classroom. But we can always just do it in the room too. So don't stress. We're going to work through this.
Okay. First grade, good?
Yep, I think we're good, Chris. Thank you.
Okay. And then second grade. I will throw it to one of our, I see Karina, and
Yeah.
I see Gabby. And do one of you want to take it?
Yeah, so second grade is going to be pretty much the same as first grade. So we have a list of supplies as well. So pencil box for supplies, 24 crayons, markers, whiteboard markers. The headphones are just as important. Scissors and glue sticks. Pencils, the same thing. We have 1,000,002 pencils between all the teachers. So I think we will be okay with pencils. But if you feel more comfortable sending pencils in, you can do that too. But yeah, if you could keep some supplies at home for them as well for those virtual days that they have, that would be fantastic. And they'll be leaving these supplies at school in a little box is what we're thinking of doing, and keeping them to the side for when the other kids come in. So also bringing in a fully charged laptop and charger and a snack. Again, like we have allergies in the grade level, so if we could just cut it off, like not have peanuts or nuts, that would be fantastic. And then 2 face masks in case they lose one or one gets dirty. Gabby, did you want to add anything?
Yeah, I think the only thing that I want to add is that these might be subject to change just in case, or that we might need to ask for something in addition, or we realize like, oh, we forgot this. So sorry. So if you can have some flexibility with us too, just to know that like, we're not going to know what we need until we need it. So I think first grade is agreeing that that's probably going to be the case for both of us. So
Yes, Elsa, thank you.
Yes, so we appreciate your support, but for right now, this is our starter pack and we feel good about it. So thank you so much.
And then jumping back in, I really want to stress the fully charged laptop.
Yes.
That will be a game changer. We're going to try and figure out ways that we could charge throughout the day, but we're still working on that game plan. So please remember to charge your laptops. Set a little reminder, a sticker chart, whatever you have to do.
And we got another slide on it too, so we'll hit it again. I will say, again, if you need help with supplies, just reach out to your teacher, reach out to Mrs. Hine or myself, to Miss Nichols or Miss Robinson. We've got a close community. Our PTA has been awesome. So we have a fair amount of supplies. We certainly want to help if it's needed. So just let us know. All right. Almost done listening to me talk. All right, lunch. So we're going to eat in our classrooms. Again, the reason being, again, we got to keep that 6 feet of distance. We really aren't supposed to it was a challenge to use it at a round table. And then we got guidance that we really need to keep kids facing the same direction. So we are eating in the classroom. The students, can take their mask off. Certainly if a kid is finished up eating and has thrown their trash away, we're going to be asking them to put their mask back on, but they can certainly leave it off while they're eating. Lunches at this point. So right now we have a breakfast and lunch is provided for any student that wants it. So in the morning, right now we have a pickup station, and we may add a second one if it gets a little too crowded there. So students can walk into our building and they can grab a breakfast. And then for lunch is being delivered to the classrooms. And if the student wants the lunch, they can take it. It is cold options right now. Most of the time at lunch, it is sandwiches, chicken fingers. Everything they get is fully cooked. I know that a cold chicken finger, although I might like to eat it at, for a midnight snack sometimes, isn't always an appetizing meal. So, but that's the only thing. I know some of the meals that you might be picking up on Wednesday, like the pizza, they should not be getting the pizza they need to put together and it's cold in the rooms. We are working on a hot lunch option. I'm waiting to hear back from our cafeteria supervisor. We just need to work out the logistics. That would be after spring break. So certainly for the leading up to spring break, it's going to be a cold lunch option. And again, free for anybody that wants it. Recess, the biggest thing is our playgrounds continue to be off limits. Don't get me started on this because of, you can come up to our school before 9 and after 3:30, and our playground is open to anybody. And nothing against wrestling, but we did allow high school wrestlers to wrestle all winter without masks, but somehow our kids can't go on a playground. So that's my soapbox for the night. We are pressing hard as elementary principals to get that changed. It's not been changed. So I just want, they're not going to be able to use the playground equipment. We're going to, encourage them to play games and activities that minimize close contact. So if they're a fan of tag, which I know many kids are, we're going to change that to shadow tag. I did visit across the street at St. Leo's, who's been open since August, and they have many of the same measures that we've put in place, including at recess, and certainly shadow tag has made a big comeback. So they are expected to wear masks. We're outside. Certainly that is a time to take the mask off if they need to, if they can keep it on. Again, the guidance we're getting from the health department is that would be best. We're certainly will reinforce that. And at the same time, the battle that we're going to fight is going to be in our classroom, right? The inside space is where we really need to be strict about that. We'll do our best to keep them again during physical activity, the 10 feet of distance. We have recess carts, and again, this is all a plan, but every grade has a recess cart. Our PE teachers have done a great job. I should have taken a picture now that I've said it, of getting these carts together with jump ropes and hula hoops. Balls are fine as long as they're kicked and not thrown. They've got a bunch of other games. PE teachers painted our blacktop by the preschool playground with a lot of activities on the blacktop. So it's a work in progress. We want them to be active and have fun at recess, but kickball and tag with their hands and the playground equipment won't be allowed. When they come in, of course, we'll wash hands. We'll use hand sanitizer and then also wash hands when they come in. I did want to show you a graphic of our recess zones. So if this is the backside of our school, and so a class will be assigned to a zone. Right now, we're thinking, it's for a week, but really it's for 2 days, right? I know we do have some staff members who have CPS members who might have kids 4 days a week, but for most kids, it's 2 days. So they'll be assigned to that zone. Again, think about it. It's not a class of 25 or 30. It's a class of, in first and second grade, I think 13 is the biggest number we have, right? So even though that space might look kind of small, when you go out there and think about 13 kids in that space, so far it's been working with kindergarten. So we'll rotate those spots around. We have ensured that there will be no rain until June 12th. We're figuring out our indoor recess plan, but we're just going to bank on no rain. But to give you again an idea of what recess is going to look like. School supplies, you guys hit that pretty well. The only thing I'll add is that water fountains are open, but they should not be used other than with a refillable water bottle, we are providing refillable water bottles. So students are going to get those. They're going to get this nice little pink lanyard that I have on that has a couple claw things on it that they can hang their mask. They keep their mask on it, so that hopefully will reduce masks getting lost. And every student will get a mask from us. And sorry, off the top of my head, there's one more thing. Oh, cases. We'll get to laptops in a second, but we're giving everybody a laptop case as well. I feel like I said I was going to stop talking, and I haven't. All right, student laptops. Here we go. You guys have hit on that. Right now, bring the laptop and charger with them to school in their case, but we are not planning on, we don't have the capability to have every student charge their laptop in the classrooms. So they really need, this is the FCPS on model. I came from an FCPS on school. Now, first and second grade kids in FCPS on schools don't take their computer home. Only the third through sixth graders did. But, we worried about this, and it was really a non-issue. Kids were really good about it. Again, we'll give them that case. The charger fits in there, but they really need to bring it charged, as the folks said. And then each day bring that charger and laptop to school. Again, we'll provide the case. Visitors, just know we're still prefer that you make an appointment unless it's an emergency. Of course, you got to wear a mask and fill out the health screening form when you come. So coming ill at school, just know if you have symptoms that have been established by the health department as COVID symptoms, I want to bring your attention to like headache. Like, it's not going to be every headache, right? We're going to do our best to work with the child to figure out, maybe they have a health condition, maybe they're hungry, or there's some other factors, right? But if we deem it as a COVID symptoms, we're not saying it's COVID, but we're saying it seems like a COVID symptom, you are going to need to pick them up, and there is a form that will need to be completed in order to return. So that is this return to school form, and you'll need to get that completed by a physician, or or send it into the physician if you do a virtual appointment. But we will need to get that back. The good news is over the we had kids back in the fall. We've only seen this a few times. It's not like we have kids down in the clinic all the time. So hopefully we'll avoid this, but just know that is something that happens if they get sick. The question I know in the fall is about the response to the classroom, and really, I know it can be a frustrating answer, but it really is a case-by-case basis based on the number of close contacts. And, our goal is to safely keep kids in school. So, if we have the staff and we can safely keep kids at school, just because there's a COVID case in the classroom doesn't automatically mean that entire class is going to be home on quarantine and virtual learning for 10 days or 14 days. So we work at the health department. It's not, although I'm involved in the decisions, this is not where it comes into me is, can we support that class, right? Do we have a teacher that can go into that classroom if the teacher's out? And if we have some students who aren't considered a close contact and can still come in person, certainly our goal is going to be to support those in-person kids if we can. Again, I'm not promising, we'll just have to look at the staffing at that point and see what we can do. But, our hope is to certainly do that. Definitely close to the end. Time for questions. There are some resources at the end of this. There's some videos that have been shared. A bunch of resources if you're interested in digging into more stuff. So I will take a little bit of a break. And Lauren, do you want to just start going through? I know some folks chimed in with answers already, but do you want to just start going through the ones we need to answer?
Sure, thanks. So the first one was about specials. There's two about specials. What is the plan for specials? Will specials be rotated for in-person groups? My daughter is upset that she might not or never get in-person gym.
Yeah, so I'll start backwards. Right now, we are not rotating. So that is one. So the specials teachers are going to come into the classroom. And so, and Lauren, you can help me, but I think for first and second grade, every in-person student whatever their special is that day, they will have an in-person specials teacher in the class. We're not going anywhere, so we're not going to art, we're not going to gym. Again, they're going to come into the classroom. And in terms of that, I think if we can figure out a rotation, that would be good, right? It does stink if you're a Tuesday kid and it's or if you're a Thursday kid and Tuesday's your PE class, you'll never see your PE teacher in person, right? So right now we got a lot of moving parts. We want to get everybody back, see if the routines and schedules that we've put in place will work, and then we'll start to examine if we can do some sort of rotation so that kids can, see their art teacher, music teacher in person. But at least the good news is when they are here, they will have an in-person specials teacher. Next, Lauren.
Okay. Can we have our child go into class with a week's worth of masks? So can we send them in with lots of extra masks?
I'll leave that to the teachers.
I can jump in on that one. It would probably be easiest if it's just put in the backpack and it's safe there, because their little personal bins are going to get full with manipulatives and such. So a loose mask might become loose in the classroom. So it's safest in the backpack, but we can always put it in their bin as well.
Maybe just putting them in a Ziploc bag and just leaving them in the backpack all week long.
Mm-hmm.
So they know they're there if they need them.
Sounds good. Thank you.
Good idea, ladies. Thanks. Next question. Will they be able to play with friends in classrooms remaining 10 feet apart, etc.?
Right now at recess, although we are doing some mixing instructionally in terms of allowing, for instance, like our ESOL and special ed kids to pull kids from multiple classrooms from an instructional standpoint, at recess, they will stay with their class. They can play with that group. They just need to stay apart from them. And so like Miss Hollis-Hesch's class should stay in their zone, and Miss Dildine's class should stay in their zone. And again, the issue is the more we mix, the more the contact tracing, we want to try to limit. If there is some COVID cases, we don't want to knock out all of our first grade students from in-person instruction, right? So, we are doing some mixing from an instructional perspective, but then trying to limit it after that.
Next question, and Lawrence, I don't know if you want to chime in on this, but someone had asked to put in a link for the charger that would work with the computer because they want to purchase a backup. And I'm assuming that we can send that to teachers and get that out to parents in case anybody wants to purchase a backup.
Absolutely. So I put my email address in the chat, and I'll do it again if I have to, and I'll supply that out either through our communications to our news and on any sources that we need to get that information out to people.
I think since it's a great question, is because there's different models at different grade levels, it's probably best if we share it with the teachers and let the teachers share that out. I'm just thinking a mass communication, there'll be many different models of chargers. So let's try that. Thanks, Lawrence. All right, next, Lauren.
Let me just see. We answered this one. How will kids know where their classroom is on the first day? We have tons of people, extra hands all over the place to help kids find where they need to go. So don't worry about that.
Yeah, and
then will kids need to show?
I was just going to say, and classrooms haven't changed. So if they're at all familiar with the layout of our building, second grade is upstairs. First grade is kind of around the curve from kindergarten. And we also have some new A-frame signs. So we'll put some signs up too that say, second grade up the stairs and first grade down here. And as Lauren said, we do have a lot of adults on hand to help. So we'll take good care of them.
Do kids need to show a negative COVID test before coming next week?
They do not.
Okay, and then will the in-person schoolwork, reading, math, etc., be all on the laptop, or will there be an opportunity for off-screen reading and math?
So I will start this and say, our goal, certainly last year kids used computers, right? I know certainly first and second grade didn't have a computer for every child, right? But, here's the one thing, for the most part, they're not going to be accessing Google Meet, right? They're going to be with their in-person teacher. If they need the computer, it would be to, they're getting on and doing a slideshow with somebody, right? Or they're using Google Docs somehow. I see head shaking. So, again, the biggest thing is they're going to get live instruction from their teacher, and then any our teachers can chime in on that.
I can jump in. I have a lot of feelings on the matter. We'll definitely do like a blended learning approach. So if an activity makes sense and is purposeful to be online, then we're definitely going to utilize that resource. But there will still be a lot of reading an actual book, doing actual writing in a notebook, touching manipulatives in math, and learning addition and subtraction that way. So they'll be getting hopefully the best of both worlds.
Yeah, and maybe what I should have said is, right, Alex, last March 2nd, you would have walked into a first or second grade classroom and seen kids using a computer and using Google Docs, right?
Yes.
We just now they have their own computer, right? It doesn't necessarily mean we're going to use it more.
Now they're a little bit more familiar with it, and we can do more. We have access to more, but the time hopefully won't increase too much.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Next, Lauren.
That's it. That was the last question.
Oh, that's it. Okay.
Pretty cool.
Did any other, I didn't see anybody else want to chime in. I assume we're all good with Alex's answer there on the last question. So chime in. Anybody want to, so you can open your mic if you want, if we missed something. We've got about 30 minutes before our Spanish speaking version starts. It looks like somebody said they had a question there, Lauren. I didn't see the name though. If you want to.
Yep. Ms. Perez has a question.
All right, go ahead, Ms. Perez.
Hello, I wanted to ask if, since we were talking about the in-person and virtual learning and how for like math, for instance, they'll be able to use actual, like, let's say, for example, I'm assuming blocks or something to help them counting. Are you guys gonna be repeating that, like the people who did it Tuesdays and Wednesdays and used the blocks, would they be repeating the same lecture again for the Thursday and Friday because they were able to use the blocks, or how would that work?
So I'll start and say that this is one of the big changes from the summer, right? The goal, and again, it's brand new for all of us, but the goal is that focus lesson is not gonna be the same on Tuesday it is for Thursday, right? That you're delivering some different material. Having said that, right, certainly using the manipulatives in math, right, is going to be something that you're going to want your Thursday kids to do just like your Tuesday kids, right? So I just want to lay the groundwork there and then let any teacher that has thought that through yet what they're thinking, right? Any brave souls?
I'm learning to share the airspace.
Alex, we share the same brain. You can just go.
Okay, perfect. So each day in our master game plan right now, we'll do a different mini lesson, and then our kids at home will have some must-dos and may-dos and choices that they can be working on individually to reinforce those concepts. Whereas the students who are in person during that time, we'll be kind of like walking them through how to use those manipulatives and different activities that they can do that are enhanced by having these hands-on manipulatives. So it'll kind of be a repeat, but it's going to be more customized to the kids in that room. The discussion with Tuesday's group might be a little bit different than with Thursday's group because the kids in the class have different needs, just like we would in a normal school year. No two math lessons are ever the same when we pulled small math groups.
And I would add where we start next week and really the weeks leading up to spring break, again, is not where our teachers are going to be in June, right? They're going to learn and grow through this. It's just, again, another new model of doing stuff. But again, the goal is that it's not, in the summer, the plan was 2 days of totally asynchronous learning at home and 2 days of in-person, right? And so you're not left alone as a parent, right? You're not going to be expected to do, 7 hours of schoolwork with your kid. And right now, you are going to see some more independent work at times than you're currently seeing, right? On the days where they're not here in person. Does that help, Emily?
Yeah. Okay. I have a sorry, this is Emily Freilich, the other Emily. I have a question as well.
Go ahead.
I guess, are the teachers going to be muted or off the Google Meet while the virtual kids at home are kind of doing their choice boards and may-dos, or will they be hearing kind of the classroom noise during that time? Is there a plan for that? Does that make sense?
I believe what kindergarten has done is they are muted. But we can still kind of watch what's going on at home. So if your child does have a question at home, we can still see them. So
it'll be really reinforcing that raise hand button. So then as a teacher, we can glance over and see a kid has their hand raised and we know to come in and help. But they don't have to hear just the extra noise that's going to echo throughout by being
okay, great. Thank you.
And kids can also, never mind. Go for it. Never mind, I'm good.
Oh, sorry. Do we have other questions?
There's one about SOLs.
Okay.
Talk about that. Is there talk of skipping SOLs this year?
Gotcha. Well, first and second grade don't have to take it. That's always a good part. Third through sixth. So just so you know, at the trickle down effect, right? At the SOLs are a federal, there's federal requirements for testing. And last week, we're not getting any relief from the federal government, so therefore we do have to give it. It is if you opt out. So if you have a student in third through sixth grade and you opt out, it does not count against the school this year. So we're getting some clarification about how to officially get that out to everybody. I'm supposed to get some more information later this week at my weekly principals meeting. So bottom line is, if you don't want your child to take it in third through sixth grade, there will be a way for you to let us know that. And we'll get that out to you. Look for it probably before spring break. Anything else there, Lauren?
No more questions in the chat. Does anybody have any questions they want on mic and ask?
And Google Meet does have a raise hand function now, so if you want to use that. I hear the little ding. Looks like, Pamela, you raised your hand. I think your hand is up, right, Pamela? Whoops, and it's lower.
Yes, I just had a question concerning busing in the afternoons.
Yeah, go ahead.
How is that conducted in terms of? I believe it was somewhere in the communication. It was communicated that depending on the bus stop, the children would enter the bus. So how would that be?
So this is me being a bad parent. I don't often read the parent communication I get from my child's school, but someone did forward it to me because I'm like, what did transportation send out? Yes, my understanding, we have not seen it yet here. I will tell you that. Like right now, the buses, I would say, so we have 7 buses. So your student is assigned to one of 7 buses. And right now, I think we might have 4 kids on a bus. So I haven't seen this, but what I saw was basically if they're the first stop coming home, they're going to want them to get on the bus last, so that there aren't kids walking, from the back of the bus past a bunch of kids to get off the bus, is my understanding. I will follow up tomorrow, because now that you say that, I have not seen that yet on our buses. But I'll follow up about that tomorrow. Does that answer your question? I think that's what you were referencing, right?
Yes. Mm-hmm. And also, are you administering the Naglieri and the COGAT testing?
I will leave that to Miss Hine.
Yeah, so we're the CAGA we are not doing this year. The Naglieri, actually, Mr. Parker and I were just talking about that today. So we need to go through and see if we need to test some kids in the spring.
Okay.
And by we, Fairfax County, that wasn't a, right? That's not a.
Correct, I'm sorry, yeah, Fairfax County, yeah. So they give us guidelines on who needs to be tested. And this year, because of COVID, they've put more restrictions on who to bring in and test.
Thank you.
I think something else pop up in the chat there about.
Yep. You have a question about SAC. Is there a plan for SAC?
Yeah, SAC will not be returning to our school building this year. So, yeah, and I know that is tough on some families. It was the SOL implication one that I saw. So, a little secret if you don't know it, in elementary school, for the most part, SOLs, really don't count. SOLs don't count really until they get into middle school, where if they're taking a high school credit class, in order to get the verified credit, you were supposed to pass the SOL and have a passing grade in the class. So for all of our elementary tests, it's more a measure of the school and how well we're doing. It's one measure. It's not the only measure. It's certainly the most probably talked about measure. Some of those websites out there that do the ratings of schools put a lot of emphasis on it. I don't pay attention to those sites, but so there's no student implication. We certainly do, it's another piece of data, right? If we're looking at some extra support for a student, it's not just an SOL score that we look at. We certainly look at other assessments that teachers have given, right? But it is certainly a piece of information. So there's no real harm to the student in not taking it. In the past, it has harmed the school. It has gone down as a score that counts as a failure against the school. And that is what it is. I don't make the rules. And if you don't want your kid to test, you ought to be able to make that decision. Cool. Anything else there, Lauren?
Yep. Will there be opportunities to check out books from the library and have some time working with the innovation space and science specialist?
Yeah, so no innovation space, although Mr. L, I know he's sad, right? We just, one is the limit on time, right? We're short 1 day a week, right? We're down to 4 days a week, half an hour of specials. Mr. L is certainly supporting classes. And I don't think Sheila is here, and there will be a plan to check out books. I'm not sure. I think she's sticking with kindergarten only in terms of them coming in and doing sort of a traditional visit, but we are able to check out books. I know she's working on a plan for that. We certainly want to get books in kids' hands. Was there something else to that question, or did I? Oh, thanks, Alex. Did I answer that, Lauren?
Yep, that was from a meet. I think that was good. Do we have to notify the school if at pickup we will be a walker versus a car pickup? Can we switch between the two depending on the day of the week?
Yeah, you can certainly switch. What I recommend that you do, even like if you're, like, let's say your first day is next Tuesday and you walk over, is just see Mr. Parker out in the kiss and ride area, outside entrance 2, and he'll give you, we're giving each family a number of passes that has a number on it. So it'll be a unique number, like it'll be number 100. So it's a lot, morning is pretty simple because we are just getting students out of the car. The thing I should have mentioned, and I didn't, we had been doing temperature checks in the fall, we're not doing those anymore. So, kiss and ride arrival should go pretty smoothly. It's in the afternoon, so if you walk your kid over Tuesday morning and don't get a number, and then you pick them up Tuesday afternoon in the car, it's just going to take a little while longer. So see Mr. Parker, and then you can always switch if you need to.
That was the last one in the chat, Mr. Smith.
Okay.
Oh, wait, one more, sorry. One popped in. Do you know how the Sherwood program will work?
I don't. Sherwood, is that an aftercare program? I see some head shaking. And so are you talking about do you need bus transportation to Sherwood? Oh, that's Connected Care. Thanks, Shauna. I believe Connected Care, because it resides in our district, Lauren, right? We have worked with Connected Care and transportation for the kids to get dropped off there, correct?
So I have a list. Yes, I sent it to transportation. I will definitely double check so we have a definite answer tomorrow. But I believe that they're on the bus route. I just want to double check.
Sherwood is right across the street. Some of the kids walked over. It's a Fairfax City program. So it's not 3 Acres Connected Care.
Sherwood, yes. In the past, they would come and meet the kids in the cafeteria, right, Mary?
Right.
Okay.
But they physically walk.
Sherwood currently,
right by Van Dyke Park.
Yeah, does Sherwood currently have kids going over there? Because I thought all those folks were over at Connected Care.
I'm not aware that they do, but if someone has used it in the past, that might be why they're asking.
Right. My understanding is all the folks that were supporting Sherwood are over at Connected Care now. Sorry, Emily, go ahead.
I'm sorry. My son was with the Connected Care, and I know that they're gonna start a program. So like before and after school, they go to that the community center, and then from there they would go into the school. But because we're talking about the entrances with the buses and the exits with the buses, I wanted to know if you guys knew the plan with how those kids are gonna be entering and exiting the building.
Yeah, my understanding is they're going to be assigned to one of our current 7 buses. That's what Lauren is working to verify. So they'll just enter our building like any other bus rider. So I would say, Emily, connect with Lauren here at the end of the week just to verify that information.
Thank you.
Yep. And thanks for the help. I saw some chat. Somebody said that, yes, Sherwood is not going on right now. All right, anything else? Miss Alza.
I just have a concluding thought that I wanted to put on the radar, which is just that these first couple of weeks are going to be very similar to the first week of school, except it's going to be the first week of school that we've never done before, and those are already very procedure heavy. So I just want to put on the parents' radar that there's going to be a lot of procedure focus for the in-person kids, and then it's going to flip. So we just want to make sure that we're on the same page to give us some grace with working out how things are going to work, that we're probably going to be spending a lot of time just making sure the kids know where they're going, what they're doing at every given moment. And then we probably are going to need a little bit more support than we're going to need in the future with the online kids as far as getting everything up and running. So I just wanted to put that out there that first week of school, super excited, but definitely lots of procedures and probably a little less content than what we've been doing so far.
Well said, Ms. Alza. And not only that, we have 2 first days of school the first week.
Right. It's going to be a party. We're going to have a great time.
Yeah. And I will conclude if there's no more questions. Again, the parents, you have done a lot of heavy lifting along with our teachers, right? So it has been we're coming up on that year anniversary, and it's, we certainly, I feel like, although far from perfect, things have gone rather smoothly, and all that credit goes to the teachers and to the families and the partnership we've built. So continue to reach out if you have questions. Reach out to your teachers, reach out to me or Mrs. Hine. We'll certainly do everything we can to continue to make this the best possible solution to our current challenges. So, all right. Okay, you can hang out. We do have another session starting at 6:15 for Spanish speakers. And Yaneth, I believe Yaneth is here. Yaneth, I'll go ahead and switch our presentation here.
Thank you.
And I didn't, for the teachers, again, a lot of moving parts here. I wasn't, Yaneth, able to get you the most up-to-date version. Maybe Gabby, if I shared Yaneth's presentation, it's your page, the supplies. Would you be able to quickly put in the Spanish?
I did already. I opened the one that you're sharing and I copied the English information and I translated it already.
That's why Yaneth is amazing. Okay, so we're good to go.
Thank you.
Yay, Yaneth, as we added things last minute. Thank you.
You're welcome. Happy to help. Hopefully we get some parents connect to the meeting at 6:15.
Yes.
Did I say anything that surprised you? I'm realizing that we probably should have done the staff meeting before this, but we'll have a staff meeting tomorrow. Really, but the idea of the staff meeting was more like logistical, like arrival and dismissal stuff. So, okay. I mean, did I add more stress to you, Gabby, or less stress to you?
No, I didn't. No, the diligence school meeting might have made a little bit more sense before the parent meeting, but we'll get it. It's gonna be great.
We'll be fine. What did I say that surprised you? Like, what is there something I can help with now?
No, we just have like a list of questions though.
Okay, all right.
It's gonna be great.
Send them my way. We'll get them answered.
Do you want to end this recording and then start a new one for the Spanish?
I thought I had, but maybe I didn't.
It still says record on
Yeah.
there.